Hey YouTube, what's going on? It's your boy here, the D20, and I got some explaining to do. Okay, look, now I know the last time the chapters were out, I didn't do a review. Shit happened, and then I'm also late on this current chapter cycle. So look, I look, I know I need to get my head on straight, so here's what I'm going to do. Today, I'm going to do a double review. I'm not going to fully review the old chapters. I'm going to mention them, kind of go over them briefly, and then I'm going to, have it so I can explain how those lead into the new chapters. And without further ado, thank you for joining me, and this is your boy, the D20, once again, and this is I'm going to get this right eventually, but today ain't going to be that day. Shonen Showdown. And to start this week's doubleheader off, I'm going to go ahead and start with One Piece by Eiichiro Oda. And this is going to be a double, yet again. It's going to be Chapter 987, The Vassals of Glory, and Chapter 988, Sorry for the Wait. Okay, just to briefly go over the last chapter, it starts with the Vassals actually being able to wound Kaido, him having flashbacks to Odin. So now he's seeing that the samurai are actually carrying out Odin's will. And as far as what happened in the last chapter, yet again, I'm not going over all of this in detail, but pretty much Luffy's still a badass challenging Big Mom, while Kaido is above everyone and he's fighting the minks outside during a full moon, to which, Kaido being that nigga, just don't give a fuck. But anyway, on to the meat of this section, chapter 988, Sorry for the Wait. Alright, the chapter opens yet again outside, Kaido beneath the full moon in his full dragon form, commenting that he knows about Sulong and how the minks turn into what he calls moonlion berserkers, and laugh. But then Jack the Drought and a bunch of the Beast Pirates and even one of the Numbers come in, and they come to give him some backup. Now, Nekomamushi and the Scabbards, they move to go ahead and strike, especially Nekomamushi and Inuarashi seeing Jack, who pretty much brought their entire civilization to the brink of destruction, and even Raizo steps up to claim that he's the one that he was looking for, and that he will repay the debt that he owes them. Jack notices them, but then the Forest Guardians and the Dog Storm Musketeers into their Sulong forms. And just to kind of comment on that, they look pretty awesome. I'm like, because when I first heard about Sulong, I was like, okay, not all the minks are necessarily A, lions, or B, carnivorous, so it's like, how is this gonna look? But then, you see the Roddy B and BB and Giovanni, Sicilian, and Consulate, all in their forms. And yeah, big white fur, and even with Roddy in them, they got the Super Saiyan hair, they're really fluffy. And, and they just proceed to do the thing. Now, seeing this, Jack does not back down. Of course, Jack wouldn't, him being as obnoxious as he is, and not only that, being as powerful as he is, the beasts are like, shit, motherfucker, we're animals too, bring that shit. And then I see the number that they have with them, Nangi. Now, just to go over the numbers, I think we've only seen one. I think it was Hachio or Hachi. It was something 8, and this number 9, like Nana, I think this is number 7. And honestly, they're bringing out the numbers kind of haphazardly, and I don't know, it might be just that, maybe like the top 4 or some shit are actually fire, but it's like, okay, y'all, for these to be those humongous beasts we saw when those kids, before the party started, it's like, okay, y'all bring out these niggas kind of haphazardly, but hey, it's whatever. So then we cut over to Big Mom back inside the dome. She looks up and notices that, they're fighting up there, probably using either observation hierarchy or common sense. She can probably hear the shit. And then King and Queen, they're still standing on the scaffolding after Kaido fell and then flew up. And Queen's asking, did Jack go with him? To which King rebuts, unlike you, he was considered enough to leave. Which is good to still see their rivalry. Them, they get together to dump on Jack, but they still dump on each other. But then King notices that Shinobu snuck up behind everybody in the commotion and is trying to undo Momonosuke's chains. But King, yet again seeing her, proceeds to put a stop to that shit. He then moshes and pushes her off into a column and sends her fucking flying, which Momo is surprised. Luffy asks if she's alright, and everybody's like, oh shit. But then, I think this is probably my favorite part of the chapter. But then we notice something happened to Momonosuke's chains. They kind of explode. And with that, both King and Queen are like, what the fuck? Like, hey, what's happening? And then Momo starts flying. Now, yet again, they're surprised. And everybody's like, what's going on? Because yet again, the samurai and everybody don't know about Momonosuke's dragon powers. And even then, he's in his human form. So they're like, okay, we don't think he's using his flight powers. But King quickly flies and tries to, strike him out the air. But then we see a silhouette of a straw hat we haven't seen in a while. We see Sanji donning his full Germa Double Six outfit, and so he was sneaking around the entire time. To which everybody, exclaims like, "Wait a minute, Sanji, you were here?" And even Nami, even she, comments like, "Hey, I thought you were out chasing hoes." To which Sanji doesn't even answer. And Queen, goes to choke out Sanji and tell him like, "Hey, we're gonna kill the kid." Sanji tosses Momonosuke to Shinobu and tells her, go ahead and get away. And Sanji yells over to Momo and tells him that he dropped his name like a man. And it's just really good to see this because everybody, has been shitting on Sanji. And on top of that, getting into the One Piece fandom, it's like, how can you hate Sanji? Like, yet again, not my favorite Straw Hat by any stretch, but still, like, I don't see where the Sanji hate and like, they hate Sanji shit comes from. Cause Sanji be pulling boss moves. Y'all niggas weird. But anyway, so my man Sanji was pretty much on some clandestine shit this chapter. Saves the kid, and yet again, it's moments like these that I really like about the Straw Hats. Like, even though like some of their best moments aren't even in battle. It's like Brook on Whole Cake Island. Like, people can say what they want about Brook, about his power level and power scaling, and yet again, I'm a power scaler, but still. This motherfucker, he went and got 1/4, 25% of what they need to find the One Piece treasure for Luffy to achieve his goal. He found 1/4 of it. Everybody thought he failed, but this motherfucker popped his skull open and hell no, y'all, I got that shit. And yet again, Sanji pulling some, not as important, but some similar shit here, just being clutch for no reason. All right, so Shinobu catches him and proceeds like, okay, we gotta get the fuck out of here. But then King transforms to his pterodon form and tries to impale Sanji, which he blocks it, which his suit, I believe, like it has strong fibers, but then it has like a bit of a force field around it. So people are like, oh man, Sanji got impaled. Like, Sanji didn't get impaled. I don't believe that for a second. And then Sanji says, hey, a hole in the stomach could kill me, battle banter and whatnot. And King is like, no, not just a hole. He fully intends to split him in half. And he even tried Sanji to abandon and escape, but Sanji was like, dude, it's just, you can't see me. I don't just disappear. To which they then fly into another column out of sight. And Luffy even states that, hey, that hit looked bad. Let me see. He then goes over. He then moves to. I believe he was going to help Sanji, and then he tells Yamato, who he calls Yamao, to help Shinobu protect Momo. And then Yamato, and like, okay, Yamato was really weird because even in this, he's like, can I? And Luffy's like, what do you mean, can you? And yet again, Yamato's like, well, he is my son, which is like. I'm gonna talk about this one day about Yamato's orientation, because this is weird. Like, you were really taking this whole become Odin thing really to like unfathomable heights. But Luffy's like, man, look, just do it and get the hell out of my face. But then Linlin comes clad with riding not Zeus, Prometheus with Napoleon fully transformed in hand. And she's just like, look, you've been fucking up shit for too long. I'm tired of this. We're gonna kill y'all, start this party over. And then she goes on to name, like, her wedding cake, the tea party, and that entire, smorgasbord that she had in front of her. You ruined everything. And she's gonna, get her comeback, pretty much. And she then unleashes an attack, Ikoku Sovereignty, which blasts a hole, which I believe straight through Onigashima to the back, to where it's pretty much open air flowing in there now. You even see like an explosion come from outside. So it's like, yeah, she really just punched a hole through this entire mountain. And even the samurai, I believe these are samurai that they brought with them, and they're asking about her, which somebody says, hey, she's a pirate on the same level of Kaido, and they're freaking out like, damn it, man, they got 2 Kaidos. So Luffy, he remarks that he wants to go up there to help the Scabbers with Kaido, but he's like, I'm not bringing Big Mom up there, because she'll just follow him, and it's bad enough they have a deal with Kaido, even with a bunch of Sulons, but then Big Mom, it wouldn't end well. All right, so then she goes to motion, for Zeus to transform so that he can be her lightning cloud, so she can unleash a thunder attack against Luffy, which, Big Mom, Charlotte, it's Luffy, the rubber man. That's not gonna work. But then we see Nami accosting Zeus and trying to run away from Big Mom. She then begins to chide him like, hey, help us, not help her. But then yet again, he's a homie. He cannot disobey Big Mom. She's his creator. So she sucks him back up, transforms him, and then tries to unleash a lightning attack, which Nami says, I hate your guts, we'll never be friends again. But we see the Battle Frankie 4 with Brook riding on it, and they come in, to which we then get not the double spread, but the ending page of the Battle Frankie 4 riding across Big Mom's face, and then Zeus getting cut in half, with Frankie and Brook just yet again being clutch as shit for no reason. And then Frankie, just being cool to say, oops, did I just run something over? To which Nami, big bro, and not Sanji, but Frankie taking off his shades. Does somebody have a runny nose? All right. And then we also get the chapter note at the end. Next chapter hits September 6th. So no chapter tomorrow, which is August 30th. All right. Now, of course, I don't count last week's chapters. Well, last chapters, because I'm not going through them fully. But as far as this chapter, pretty enjoyable. I mean, nothing really happened. I mean, it's pretty much a cool. I think Oda might have wanted to do more, but he knew he was taking a break next week. So it's like, man, look, I don't want to leave him on cliffhanger like that. But as far as it goes, we're moving, and then Sanji was really the highlight of the chapter. Because yet again, he made it seem like he was going to chase ass, but really he's been there waiting for his moment to strike so he could save the day. And one thing I am so glad about is that Sanji kept his raid suit the way it is. Because look, I know he's got his problems with his family, the Vinsmoke family, but man, you cannot say that his Germa 66 suit is not clean. That shit is raw. Like stealth black. Like I was hoping, because he said something after his battle with Page 1 that he was gonna have Frankie and Usopp redesign it. But man, I was hoping, and I'm glad my hopes were realized, that he did not redesign his suit. But I don't know, as far as the chapter goes, it was okay. The last one was better, but yet again, didn't get a chance to do that. Deadlines and shit. But yeah, enjoyable chapter. But I'll get to where it really ranks in my descriptions once I'm ranking the chapters. Next up, Black Clover. Alrighty, next is going to be Yuki Tabata's Black Clover. We're going to do yet again a double, page 260, Dark Out, and what we're going to really be focusing on, page 261, Shadows of Night. Now, in Dark Out, it looked as if the battle had been won, with Yami going to restrain Dante, but unfortunately Xenon, one of the other devils, the one with bone magic, appears out of fucking nowhere and proceeds to capture Yami, which means that the Dark Triad now have everything they need for the Tree of Qliphoth, and Asta is now left wondering, what he can do, because he even tried to pursue them and use the devil's power, but the devil told him, as you are right now, you're too weak and you can't handle anything else. So now the Black Bulls are recovering after losing their captain. All right, and as page 261's title Shadows of Night suggests, it's nighttime in the Clover Kingdom. It's a clear, honestly, probably beautiful starry night, but unfortunately, they can't really enjoy it. Asta's being healed by the doctor who has the jellyfish magic. Can't remember his name off the top of my head, but we're gonna keep going. Stating that Asta's life is no longer in danger, but he can do nothing for his devil-infected right arm. He says that he doesn't know what's happening with it, but there's nothing he can do for it. He then goes on to explain that things are looking kind of grim in the Clover Kingdom. The Crimson Dawn's been decimated. As we remember from chapters back, about half of them died. Luckily, some of the ones that we know, Klaus, chick with the compass, can't remember her name, don't care, and of course, are fine, but thanks to Captain Vengeance leaving behind his World Tree recovery magic, but unfortunately, not a lot of people could be helped. And he even says that he's sent other recovery mages to go ahead and take a look at it. He then goes to talk to the others, such as Ghosh, Gray, Vanessa, and Finral. And he says that he's glad they suffered minor injuries, to which Finral rebuts it's because Asta and Yami did most of the heavy lifting and allowed that to happen. Alright, he's giving Ghosh a proper look over while Gray watches, and he even wonders whether or not he was really impaled. He says that this goes beyond what he knows of recovery magic. His very tissue has been reassembled. He then turns to Gray and tells her that her magic truly may not be transformation, but he doesn't offer an answer to exactly what, but just that her magic may not truly lie in the ability to transform. He then goes on to tell them that he hears there's going to be another captain's meeting, and the only thing they can really do now is rest. In the middle of the night, under the light of a full moon, Asta awakens in his bed, horrified, seeing his arm, and then goes over, activates his grimoire, and then funny enough, out of his grimoire comes Yami's sword. So I'm wondering, has Yami's sword been fully assimilated into his grimoire as one of his spells, like how he has the Demon Dweller, Slayer, and Destroyer swords? Is this now the Demon Cutter sword, or is it just he can just store it in there? And then upon seeing this, he remembers the weight of it hits him. They lost the fight. He was unable to help Captain Yami, and now his captain's been taken. He then rushes out. He rushes out to go ahead and see what he can do. He doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know where to go, but he's going to go do something. But then he freezes. I don't mean he stops. He freezes. He's mid-stride, but he freezes. He even comments, "I can't move." And then hears a voice. "Where are you going?" He turns around as much as he can and notices that he doesn't know who it is and that his magic is holding him back. And he even states that he has to go save the captain, to which the mysterious hooded figure says that he can't. He tells him that you were no match for the host that he fought, Dante, on his own, and that there are two others that he stands no chance against because they're just as strong. And he said even the devil that you're counting on to help you doesn't see you as a worthy prospect, and tells him that he doesn't even understand what's happening to his body, specifically his right arm either. And what he's doing now isn't brave, it's just stupid and reckless. But Asta rebuts that he has to go. And while we're resting, Captain Yami is in danger, but he doesn't get a chance to finish the sentence because he's cut off. And the hooded figure, why not just leave him? And Asta even tells him, he says, look, man, I don't know who you are, but you don't know anything about Captain Yami. To which the hooded figure says that he is very familiar with him. He's rough, violent, savage, irresponsible, unprincipled, unfaithful, and he isn't even a decent person. And tells him that, hey, if he lost, he's an idiot for losing. To which Asta loses it. He summons his grimoire out of his holster and has the demon destroyer sword appear out of it and strike the ground, which undoes what you might originally believe was the floor, but there was a black substance spread across the floor. He then goes to get his demon dweller sword, but the black hands, which I believe are shadows, begin to accost him and hold him down. And he even tells him, a human who can't defeat me will never rescue Yami. He tells him, if I'm too much of a problem, Yami is, then what you're gonna have to go through to get through Yami will be impossible. To which Asta breaks down, cursing his own weakness. And the hooded figure then says that he is a fool, but while removing his hood, he likes him, and that he's a good person. And then he even comments that Yami is still alive, but as he does that, you see Weg on his forehead. Weg being a horn protruding due to the influence of a demon. And Asta even asks, who the heck are you? To which, even to my surprise, like when I read this, I was legitimately surprised. I'm the vice captain of the Black Bulls. Not. If you want, I'll teach you how to use Devil's power. And that's the end of the chapter. Now this chapter, yet again, light on action, but in all honesty, very surprising. Reason being, and I have to go back and look at this. Well, this is being so late, I really should have already gone back and looked at this, but hey, we're not doing it. Anyway, I always was under the assumption that Finral was the vice captain of the Black Bulls. I always thought it was Finral. I knew it wasn't, damn, what's his name? I knew it wasn't Magna or anybody else. I thought it was Finral. I thought him and his brother were both the vice captains of their respective squads. But now, unless he's just like, look, I'm the vice captain, I don't respect Finral. Yeah, he's the vice captain. So it's very surprising because I know a couple of chapters, well, not even a couple, a few chapters back, we saw that there was someone infiltrating the Spade Kingdom who would got into one of their offices and even made somebody else disappear. So it looks like him. And it's really weird because he's infected with Weg, and if we even see some type of horned thing on his shoulder, I don't know if that's just a manifestation of his shadow magic or if like he's infected with the devil's power and it's manifesting outside of his body. But very entertaining, very informative, very surprising, because we all knew that, okay, Asa's gonna have to learn how to use his devil powers eventually. But it's really looking like it's gonna be this Noct character who's gonna be the one to teach her. And I just look forward to how everything's gonna go. Next up, Kohei Horikoshi's My Hero Academia. Alright, everybody, and bringing up the rear is gonna be My Hero Academia. And we're gonna be, yet again, another double. My Hero Academia, number 280, Red Riot, and the newest chapter, number 281, Plus Ultra. Okay, the last chapter, to sum it up briefly, they were finally able to, after a struggle, to get the sedative into Giganto Makia's mouth, and they then began to further attack him. The chapter ended, and we finally cut back to what I've been waiting for, the battle between Endeavor and Tomura Shigaraki. Now the chapter opens with Tomura getting up after being hurt. He then expresses that heroes pretend to be society's guardians, saying that for generations, they pretended not to see those that they couldn't protect, pretty much sweeping their failures under the rug. And he says that that's affected the entire society. He then remembers back when he was on the street, people saying that someone else, the police, a hero, or anybody, would help him, instead of actually stepping up to help them themselves. And he says that that's indicative of their system being corrupt and being derelict. He then comments how the common people are weak and dependent on heroes, and the heroes created the weakness that has been allowed to permeate through the common folk. And he says everything he's witnessed, this whole system that's been built, has always rejected him. Now he's ready to reject it and destroy it, and that's why he takes his power. He kind of comments on how it's simple. And he says that this alone is what makes them heroes and villains. And in this picture, in this panel, you can see Tomura. Like, I really love what Horikoshi's doing with art in this. How gritty and grimy it is, because you can see one hand's got puncture wounds. You can see the scars all over his body. And you can even see his left hand, how it's gnarly. Like, that shit looks bad. But it's still dope as hell, and the way his hair feels, it's not just like regular hair. It's like, you know, he didn't even color it in. He just erased it, and it's there. I'm not really much of an art person. Like, I can't draw for shit, but Horikoshi's in his motherfucking bag in this one. Endeavor then proceeds to rush him with a giant torrent of fire, thanking him like, "Thank you. While you were talking, I was getting my second win, and now I'm about to put your ass away." But the thing is, Tomura is unnaturally agile. Like, even Endeavor, while he's attacking, like, what the hell? How are you still moving? And as he goes to attack Endeavor further, Gran Torino then intercepts him from behind and pushes him to the ground. And he even mentions, like, okay, Endeavor's packing less firepower because of all those big attacks he's unleashed before. So he can tell, like, okay, I gotta step up because we gotta put this motherfucker down. And then he's thrown off by Tomura, who he even says, like, he's not in good shape, but he is pushing past his limits, and he is really, it's almost unreal, the things that he's doing right now. Like, he should not be moving, but his hatred, his hatred and vitriol, that fire that burns to destroy society is pushing him pretty much plus ultra. And Deku and everybody goes in to save Gran Torino. And we even see that Eraser, thanks to Manuel and everybody helping him, his powers are still nullified. All the powers that he got with All for One are still being nullified, but he still has this much just physical strength. We then flash back where we see a woman who is then revealed to be Nana Shimura dropping off her son at an orphanage, and we see a young Gran Torino overlooking the whole thing. She tells Gran Torino that she messed with the family records and that should keep him safe, because if one for all for one, that's gonna happen. If all for one were to ever learn, he'd be able to exploit that connection and exploit her weakness. And I think it's also the first time we learned that Gran Torino's real name is Kotaro. So she then goes on to tell him that she has no son and she never did. And then she calls him, so his name's Kotaro Sorihiko. She has no son. And as she says that, you can see even the lining of the speech bubbles start to waver, symbolizing that while she's saying this, her heart is breaking. She's breaking. She doesn't want to leave her son. You hear, and then you see speech bubbles. You heroes hurt your own families just to help complete strangers. Dad told me that. Which means that it's Shigaraki saying this. And then he thinks to himself, Shimura, the decision we made, was it? And then we see, Shigaraki, we see him in the past holding Nana as she cries over the loss of her son, which he believes she was forced to do. And then we see him being pummeled to the ground by Shigaraki. And we know that he was about to say, was it right? Like, if that led to this, it would do, like, even though everything was done with the best of intentions, this is what it led to. Deku then rushes after seeing one of his mentors attacked. And Shimura then turns to him and says, power. Just says power. He doesn't see Deku as a person. He sees him for his quirk, the power that he's been seeking. Endeavor tries to tell Deku to stay back, but that shit ain't happening. So as Deku goes to fire off on him, he's yet again still moving, and him and Bakugo, who's right behind him, both comment, he's faster now. That's the thing. Everything that's happening right now, it shouldn't be. Because yet again, even in the next panel, we see that Manuel and them are still, it's Locke and Manuel. They're holding him up, and Manuel's using his water power to keep his eyes open so he doesn't have to blink, so he can continue to look at Tomura and block his powers. But still, he's speeding up. Like, I believe wholeheartedly that it's just his drive is what's pushing him. He's pushing past his limits. In this case, he's going plus ultra for all the wrong reasons. And as he speeds past him, he doesn't. At first, they think, okay, he's getting in a better position so he can attack from behind. No, he's going for Shota, Eraser, but he's intercepted by Ryuko. And even then, he's able to push her, and even he realizes like he's running out of steam. He that adrenaline boost, like that fire can drive him for so long, but it's not gonna last forever. And then Deku comes up, chokes him, grabs his head and throat, and then uses Black Whip, stating that he will never forgive you. Well, excuse me. Yeah, I think it was Deku who said, I will never forgive you. And then Shigaraki rebuts, and I won't forgive anyone. And then proceeds to bow the shit out of Deku. In which Deku starts to cough up blood and think to himself, turn that rage into strength, like how the fifth one for all user told him. Bind, and then he commands his second quirk, Black Whip, to bind him. And then Todoroki rushes over. We can see him rushing over in the distance. Hold him right there. And then he's like, one good hit with all I got should be enough to destroy him. And then Shigaraki, his hand almost reaching through Ryuko's, we see something. And then he says, those fools still don't know that I've got this. He's holding an anti-quirk bullet. And then the final panel is a picture. Well, it's of Eri. Not gonna lie, I like this one. I think from the last review, like these last two chapters of besides this one, but the last two chapters of My Hero Academia weren't that good to me. They were just, it was like, okay, you're stretching out a moment, and I kind of hate that. I know sometimes it's necessary, but I still kind of hate it when it just becomes tedious. But this, Horikoshi definitely been playing the long game, because I all but forgot about the bullets. I knew he still had them because I've been watching the anime and shit like that. But I knew he still had them. But it's finally here. People who are thinking like I think Horikoshi's been playing the long game because people's like, oh, what about the trailer? He just forgot about that. He forgot about this. No, Horikoshi, I think he's really proving himself in a way for like wrapping up the story threads, or at least bringing them back to the forefront. He hasn't forgot about anything. It's just, it's kind of wasteful just to come up with something and then 2 seconds later you get the answer. Nah, play the long game. But it's good to see that we're getting back to the fray. Like something's about to happen. Like, it's looking pretty in-game-ish. Not here, like not like in the next 2 chapters, but I think after this arc, it's gonna be wrapping up to the climax, because they had plans, especially when they were partnering with the 8 Precepts of Death, and even I was going back and rereading this whole arc, especially starting with the My Villain Academia thing. He was asking a doctor about mass producing the bullets. Them bullets are coming, and now we're finally about to see. The world's finally about to get to see a taste of these bullets, because I don't think anybody knows about the full potential of the bullets. The only person who was ever hit was Mirio, because I know Sun Eater was hit with one, but that was one wasn't perfected, so his quirk factor regenerated. But I think Mirio is the only person who's ever been hit with a quirk erasing bullet proper, one of the completed ones. But yeah, Horikoshi definitely showed his ass in this one. But yeah, those are all the chapters. Next, my thoughts. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, and without further ado, we have the actual showdown portion. And for this one, yet again, the criteria that I use are entertainment, art, and how they push and how the chapter pushed the story forward. I'm not gonna go in any particular order. I'm just gonna say who won because it's honestly a first place and then 2 second places, but somebody's gotta be on the bottom. But first up, One Piece. Actually, no. I think honestly, I'm gonna say that One Piece is third on this because yet again, not a bad chapter. We got to see some Sulongs and yet again Oda's art as well. We got a lot going on right now, and even with Sanji showing up, his character really being redeemed because a lot of us in the community thought Sanji was out chasing ass, when in all honesty he was just being just a clutch straw hat. But yeah, dude, like this chapter really doesn't do anything for the story at large. It's just a waiting chapter, kind of like. And you're gonna see me like some of these chapters, they put enough in to where I actually think that oh, that's a good chapter, even though not a lot happened. With this, it's more running around. It's like, okay, we're preparing to fight, especially with Sulong. It's like we're preparing to fight, but we're not fighting yet. And even with the little exchange between King and Sanji, which yet again, I think that's gonna turn into a Sanji versus Zoro, not Sanji versus Zoro. Although some people are hoping for that, which yet again, the Sanji hate in the One Piece community is just stupid. But yeah, I think it's gonna turn into a Zoro versus King, and then I think Sanji is really gonna be the one to take Queen. If not some one-on-ones, it's gonna debilitate some 2-on-1s, maybe more. But yeah, this week I think One Piece is third. Yet again, not a bad chapter, not like a really. It's not awful. Art's good. Just didn't do anything but a story, and that's just why I'm like, this week One Piece is third for me. Favorite series out of 3, but it's third for me. Next is going to be Black Clover. Now, yet again, with this one, it definitely had the least amount of action between the 3 chapters, but the revelation of Noct, it's like, not only is this the true vice captain of the Black Bulls, but yet again, I could have sworn that was Federal. I have to go back and look, but yes, that alone I think was like, okay, because yet again, between it and One Piece, I was gonna say they were 2 second places, but One Piece didn't even have like a super reveal of like something we didn't know. It was just, hey, we're gearing up for that fight. We're still working that climax. Well, not the climax, but that action-packed section that all comes in every One Piece arc. It's like, okay, once she hits the fan, hits the fan. But she hasn't hit the fan yet, so we're kind of like slowly going up until we hit the actual part of the roller coaster. But yeah, I'm interested to see Noct. I'm interested to see what he can do. Besides just having shadow magic, and it's kind of fitting that the Capital of Darkness is going to have a vice captain who has shadows. But yeah, just to see how he does everything and, how this next little part of Asa's development goes. And finally, in first place, which possible nation you saw is coming, My Hero Academia. Like, Horikoshi's art kind of, like yet again, the action was cool, but Horikoshi's art carried this. Yet again, I don't think the anime is going to be able to do anything close to what the manga is doing right now. I know, yet again, in My Hero Academia, because it's seasonal, that budget, and because it does numbers, that budget is just astronomical. But I don't see, just the shading and everything, and, just Horikoshi's work on that page, in black and white, I don't think it can be touched. Same thing with I can't remember the devil in Black Clover. I saw the devil in the anime and it looks good, still looks creepy, but I don't think anything tops how the devil in Black Clover looked in black and white. And I think the same thing here with Tomura just looking as mangled and as ragged and as menacing as he does in black and white. I don't think anybody's gonna. I don't think the anime can touch this. But yet again, we'll see. I've been wrong before, and if it does look just as good or even better, I'm not gonna be the motherfucker to complain. But with that, this concludes Shonen Showdown. I'm telling you, One day we're gonna get that right off rip, but today ain't that day. So let me know in the comments, like, what did you like about each chapter? What didn't you like about each chapter? Would you put a different chapter on top? What do you think is gonna happen next chapter? Well. But anyway, this has been your boy, the D20, signing out. See you guys.